How did the Union Jack come to be? I'm Alice Loxton and this is Here for the History, the show where we uncover the origin stories behind everyday life. Today we'll be looking at the Union Jack, the flag of the United Kingdom. Now this is one of the most recognisable icons of British history, but how did it come to be? Who designed it? What does the patterning mean? So we're going to be flying the flag of UK history, this story of nations coming together under one banner. We'll be looking at some Stuart history, we'll be hearing about a few saints and answering the important question, where on the flag is Wales? So make sure to leave a comment, like, hype and subscribe for Here for the History so you never miss out. Okay, Ben, we're starting with a quick fire quiz.
Oh, God.
You have to answer these questions as quickly as possible. Are you ready?
Just about. Born ready.
Born ready. Great. Okay, first up, what are the countries that form Great Britain?
Okay, so England, Scotland and Wales.
Correct. What about the countries that form the United Kingdom?
Right, England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland.
Correct. Okay, well done. Good start. We're now going to move on to saints. So who is the patron saint of England?
St George.
Who is the patron saint of Wales?
Oh, God, I should know this. Welsh listeners aren't going to be happy. Is it, I don't know, St Daffyd, something like that?
Oh, yeah, well, kind of. St David.
Oh, serious? Oh, I mean, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
St David. Scotland.
St Andrew.
And Ireland.
St Patrick.
Paddy's Day.
Yeah.
Of course. Okay, and can you describe what England's flag looks like?
Yeah, it's the white background, the red cross going from side to side, up to down, like a crucifix.
That's it. Yeah, the St George's cross.
Yeah.
And then Scotland.
That is the navy background, of course, but with the diagonal cross, with the diagonal white cross.
That's it. And that's St Andrew's cross.
Yeah.
In Wales, what's the flag there?
Was the dragon, of course.
The famous dragon.
Yeah.
And in the Republic of Ireland.
Yeah, so that's the tricolour or the tricolour, and it's green, white, and, I've always said orange, but some people say gold as well, don't they?
Absolutely. Okay, so finally, and I think you'll know this one. I think anyone listening will know if you've clicked on the title of this episode. What is the name of the flag which represents the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland?
The Union Jack.
Kind of, yes. I mean, you nearly 100% got there, but in some ways you'd have to mark you down for your final answer because it actually started out as the Union flag.
Oh, that is pedantic, Alice. I can't believe you've gone there.
Okay, well, fine. Tell me then. I'll throw in an extra point if you can tell me why it gets called the Union Jack.
Is it something to do with sailing? I'm not entirely sure.
You are right. So the Jack, or a jack, is actually the name of a small flag that's flown on ships.
Okay.
So if you're going to be really pedantic, you'd say that we should call it the Union Jack when it's at sea, and it should be the Union flag when it's on land. But, it's been called the Union Jack since the 17th century, so we'll go with that. But then can you describe to me what the Union Jack looks like?
Well, of course, it's basically a composite of the flags we've talked about. So the red St George's cross for England, the white St Andrew's cross for Scotland.
With the blue background.
Yes, with the blue background, of course, behind. And then there's that red diagonal cross, but I'm not entirely sure where that comes from because that doesn't seem to be the dragon. And it's got nothing to do with the tricolour either, it doesn't seem. So I'm interested to hear where that comes from and what it represents.
Yes, it is interesting. So the red diagonal cross, it doesn't represent Wales. We'll look at that shortly. But it was the Irish addition to the flag. Okay. Now we should point out that today, Ireland is an island. It is made up of two separate countries, the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, which is part of the UK. So why do we keep mentioning Ireland when we talk about the Union Jack? Well, it's an important part of the story of historical unions that we're about to look at. Now, flags themselves are these ancient ways of identifying people. They've been around since biblical times. You could identify a person or a family or a rank or provinces or regions or different countries, all of these things. And they were often rallying points for allies in battle. And perhaps the Union Jack is one of the most recognisable. There's also been other uses in recent years. It's been co-opted by many movements, some political groups, some designers. Vivienne Westwood, of course, moved like Britpop, pop stars, the Spice Girls.
Yeah, I think it's amazing how many different incarnations of the Union Jack there are. And then you get it all over sports, like the Olympics, the F1, they're always draped in it, aren't they? And then you've got your more traditional uses in, say, the military or the royal family, last night at the proms, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, everywhere. Biscuit tins, handkerchiefs, underwear.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I wonder I don't know if other flags are used in quite such a wide range of different styles. So yeah, it's interesting.
Well, it is iconic today. And the big question that we're looking at is, where did it come from?
Mm-hmm.
How did the design for the Union Jack come about? Was it just one guy designing it, or was it a development over time? So today we will be dabbling in vexillology. Did you know what that is?
Very good word. Is it the study of flags?
It is exactly that. So we will be vexillologists. So the story is an exciting one. We're going to be looking at the history of the nations that make up the UK, including saints, national flags, and the history of union.
So Alice, we love to fly the flag for history, don't we? Let's go.
First, a saintly prologue. So Ben, I want to take you all the way back through the mists of time to talk about saints, because without understanding how important they are, you really can't understand the flag. So in the medieval period, countries were keen to have a saint to represent them. These were patron saints. Perhaps, Ben, could you tell us, what is a saint?
Okay, so they're obviously very holy people, usually associated with Christianity, and the Catholic Church in particular. They were revered because they usually advanced the cause of Christianity in some way. There's a few kind of saintly hoops you can jump through. Maybe they converted lots of people, or they performed a miracle, perhaps. And I think the word saint derives from the Latin sanctus, doesn't it? Which means kind of holy or consecrated.
That's right, exactly. So there are thousands of saints recognised by the Catholic Church. And the point is that after they die, they attain this special status, which means that people can pray to them or venerate them. They can get help from them. Today, I'd like to introduce you to 3 ancient saints. We'll be looking at the patron saints of Scotland, England, and Ireland. First up, St. Andrew. He is the patron saint of Scotland. Ben, do you know much about St. Andrew?
I can't say I really do. I think he's often depicted as quite old, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's got kind of long hair and a beard. And I'm pretty sure he's not actually Scottish. Although, of course, nowadays, Andrew is a very popular Scottish name, isn't it?
Well, of course. And the name Andrew became popular in Scotland because of St. Andrew. So the original St. Andrew was one of Jesus's 12 disciples, an OG fan, if you like. He was a fisherman. He was present at the Last Supper, so a really important figure. And after Jesus died, Andrew continued to preach. Some stories said that he travelled to Greece, where he was killed for his faith or martyred. Now, when he was crucified by the Romans for being a Christian, he apparently requested a diagonal cross, because he didn't see himself as worthy of being crucified on the same shaped cross as Jesus.
So that's why he's associated with the diagonal cross, right, on the flags.
There we go. So we have the Scottish flag with its diagonal cross. Now, legend has it that Andrew became connected to Scotland because in a dream there was a monk. So this monk was dreaming and he was told to carry some of St. Andrew's remains to the ends of the earth for safekeeping, right?
I see.
I don't know if it's a very safe place to keep anything, the ends of the earth. But nonetheless, he goes off on this great journey and he's shipwrecked and he ends up in Fife, which is on the east coast of Scotland.
Oh, I see. Well, that's, there are worse places you could be shipwrecked.
Not bad.
Nice golf courses.
Yeah, exactly.
Could have relaxed. Better than the ends of the earth.
Absolutely. I'm sure it's a nice place to end up. The monk establishes himself there. He establishes a shrine, and that shrine becomes the town of, can you guess?
Is it St. Andrews?
St. Andrews, there we go. Well done.
There we go. And that's how St. Andrew came to Scotland, his remains came to Scotland, this monk's brought him. But how did he then become Scotland's patron saint?
Yes, well, this happens a few hundred years later. There's an early medieval king who prayed to St. Andrew on the eve of a battle. Now, while praying, he saw this diagonal cross in the sky. And in that moment, he vowed that if he won the battle, St. Andrew would become the patron saint of Scotland. And as it happened, he did win. And so St. Andrew's cross became the flag for Scotland.
Okay, fascinating. I never knew that. And one of the few things I do know about the St Andrew's flag, or the Scottish flag, is that it's often referred to as the saltire. Do you know what the story is behind that?
Yes, well, any flag that has a diagonal cross is described as a saltire.
Okay.
But perhaps the Scottish one is the most famous, and so because of that, it's often referred to as the saltire.
Okay, I see. All right, so overall we've got St Andrew, and he became patron saint of Scotland because his remains were brought over by that monk.
Playing golf.
Yes, exactly.
In a cassock.
And then later on, St Andrew helped this medieval king in battle, and then that's how he gets so associated with Scotland, becomes their patron saint. Got it.
Well done, Ben. Okay, next question. What do you know about St George, the patron saint of England?
Again, not a huge amount. I think that everyone always says he never came to England. There's the dragon, and in terms of his appearance, he often looks quite young, doesn't he? He's got like a kind of mop of blondish hair. Am I right?
Yes. Now, like St Andrew, he was also a Christian and a martyr, but because he was born way back in the 3rd century, we're not 100% sure where he's from. And there's been all kinds of speculation and research into this. People have many theories. Some people say the Nile Valley, perhaps modern-day Turkey. Either way, George became an officer in the Roman army. And when the emperor at the time, Emperor Diocletian, began campaigning against Christians, George protested. It said he even tore up the emperor's order in front of him and resigned his military post.
Gosh, bold move.
Quite a move.
Yeah, I imagine that didn't go down very well with the Roman emperor.
No, not really, to put it lightly. Okay, so legend has it that he was tortured for 7 years. And this is pretty gruesome stuff, so prepare yourselves. So this is what happened to George. Nails were hammered into his head. He was flayed, racked, broken on the wheel, boiled alive, hung over fired, and poisoned. He's even crucified not once, but 3 times.
Gosh, got to admire. He's quite a resilient chap. I like that.
Yeah, he's really going through it. This is the most extraordinary thing. He died on 3 occasions and was brought back to life. And
people really were tougher back then, weren't they?
Yeah. Before he was finally killed by beheading. So that did actually kind of finish him off.
Okay, so clearly quite a remarkable bloke.
A robust man.
Exactly, yeah. Made of sterner stuff. Yeah. But how did he become associated with the Red Cross?
Yes, well, this is not entirely clear either. But ever since the crucifixion of Jesus, a bloody cross has been a Christian symbol, which over time also became associated with St. George. And because he was a soldier, he also became especially important during the Crusades. And these were a series of military campaigns launched in the Middle Ages by the Pope, where Christians fought to reclaim control of the Holy Land, which you might have heard about if you know about the Knights Templar.
Oh, of course.
Does that ring any bells?
Yes. Well, anyone who has played the video game Assassin's Creed will remember the Templars. They're essentially the baddies in the video game. They were a Christian order founded to protect Christian pilgrims to the Holy Land. They were always recognisable in the game from their big kind of white tunics, and they've got a massive red cross on the front of them.
Exactly. So Christian crusaders from places like France, Germany, England, they were all very fond of St. George. The Normans from France were actually the first to use the Red Cross. But both the cross and St. George himself became particularly associated with the English, and they adopted him as a patron saint because he represented the English ideals of bravery and gallantry.
Oh, too right. Still very prevalent, I think.
Yes. Case in point before me, this gallant young English man.
I was waiting for you to point out the obvious. Yeah. Anyway, so like with St. Andrew and our golfing monk friend bringing his remains to Scotland, is there a physical connection between George and England at all?
No, not really. But so we know that St. George never came to England. He never stepped foot on English soil. But as we discussed in our football episode, I think the way to think about it is how football fans today might support a team even if they've never kind of been to that town or that city or don't live there. Like, you support Liverpool.
Oh, I knew
And
you were going to go
yeah,
there.
yeah, and you're not from Liverpool, are you?
I see how it is. Yeah, but I have a deep spiritual connection to Liverpool.
Yeah, just like medieval, just like the relationship between medieval people and the saints, of course.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, although I'm not sure I'd compare myself to a saint, but well, maybe I should.
Yeah, well, anyone, if you haven't listened to that episode, I would recommend it. It's full of fascinating football facts and
thank you.
stories. Okay, and the other thing to say is that George is the patron saint of lots of places, not just England, Georgia, Portugal, Moscow, interestingly, Venice, and many, many others.
Interesting.
So English people share St. George with lots of places. Now, later on, a legend emerges where George slays a dragon, and this reinforces his image. He is this great symbol of courage, of faith, of victory over evil.
Yeah.
The dragon representing the evil. But it's not until around 200 years after the Crusades that George's red cross became the English flag. And that was down to the Tudor king, Henry VII, who really embraced the St. George's cross.
Okay, fascinating. I had no idea about Henry VII's role in the story. So let's put St. George to the side now. I think you've given a wonderful explanation of how he became England's patron saint. Tell me about St. Patrick.
St. Patrick is the patron saint of Ireland, and he is credited with bringing Christianity to Ireland, okay? So he was born probably in the late 4th century. He was born in Roman Britain to Christian parents. Legend has it that Patrick was kidnapped by Irish raiders as a teenager. He was enslaved in Ireland for several years, and this is where his Christian faith deepened. So he escapes, he returns home, he's ordained as a priest, and then he returns to Ireland as a missionary. Okay?
Gosh. Well, so he was enslaved there and he later returned as a missionary. That's quite an impressive level of forgiveness.
Yeah, exactly. He's back. He's got more work to do. And he later becomes Bishop of Ireland. He founded churches, schools, religious communities. So he's a busy guy establishing Christianity. But perhaps his most famous legend, his greatest legacy, you could say, is driving the snakes of Ireland into the sea.
Oh, well, that must be why there's never any snakes in Ireland today, I
Wow,
suppose.
that's what people say. So I'm not a fan of snakes. So thank you, St. Patrick. But unlike our other two patron saints, Patrick was never martyred. After this very productive life, he simply hung up his cassock and enjoyed retirement.
Retirement? I didn't know holy people can retire. Does he just, get a deck chair, put on some flip-flops and kick back, rents out his second home, that type of thing? Interesting. Anyway, right, so Patrick's retired.
Yeah.
But I guess the big question that springs to mind, I can see how St. Andrew and St. George inspired their flags, but how does St. Patrick, how does he manifest on the flag? How does he inspire it?
Okay, so the diagonal X-shaped cross on the Union Jack, this is actually known as St. Patrick's cross.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And there isn't really a clear-cut story as how the cross became linked with St. Patrick. But we did speak to Professor Nick Groom. He is a leading expert and author of The Union Jack, the story of the British flag. And he gave us lots of information today. And he says it was an established and recognised Irish symbol from around the 1500s, okay? So, for example, we can see that the cross was found on the heraldic arms of Trinity College Dublin in the year 1591. It was also flown by Irish troops at the Battle of Kinsale in 1601.
I see.
But the point to make is that it wasn't actually the official national flag or symbol for the country. But we'll look at all of that a bit later.
Okay, fascinating. Well, you've teed that up nicely. Looking forward to it. So what about St. David? What's his backstory?
Okay, unlike the other patron saints who were adopted, David was actually Welsh.
Oh, fair enough. Authentic Welshman.
A real Welshman. He was a revered bishop in the 6th century, so a little bit later. He founded a monastery on the Welsh coast at what later became known as the famous city of, can you guess what it might have been called?
St. David's.
St. David's, there we go. Which is actually the smallest city in the UK. But that's how he gets St. David's. But as we're about to find out, he does not have a stake in the Union Jack.
God, poor David.
I'm
Can't
afraid.
believe that. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing you explain how that came about.
Yeah.
I'm sure the Welsh aren't too happy about it.
We will get to the heart of it. We will get to the crux of it. You see what I...
Very good there. Crux cross. It's genius, Alice.
Chapter 1. Where's Wales? So I'm taking you to the 11th of December 1282. We're at a famed battle, and this was the culmination of centuries of conflicts between Welsh rulers and the English crown. So up until this point, Wales had several different rulers. It was made up of a few different lordships and principalities. But by the mid-1200s, the most powerful of these was Gwynedd in North Wales. Its leader was Llywelyn ap Griffith. Huge apologies to any Welsh listeners there for that pronunciation. It's the best I could do. But Llywelyn had become the dominant Welsh ruler. That's what we need to know here. And he had declared himself Prince of all Wales in 1258. But when Edward I became King of England in 1272, he refused to recognise this self-declared Prince of Wales. And the prince refused to pledge allegiance to the English crown.
Wow.
So got a bit of a problem there.
Yeah, exactly.
But this resulted in a crucial battle for our story today. So Edward and Llewellyn's armies meet to the north and south of Orowyn Bridge in Carmarthenshire. And Edward's army is wearing an armband for the cross of St George. But the Welsh are north of the bridge. They're blocking the English cavalry. But they don't realise that there's also a ford. So there's this shallow crossing in the river nearby. And Edward's army find the ford and they cross it and they flank the Welsh. And as the Welsh are showered by English arrows, they retreat up the hill. The English cavalry overrun the remaining men. And all of this is known as the epic Battle of Orowyn Bridge. But there's also something else to consider because it gets a bit weird. Although Llewellyn wasn't at the battle, his body was mysteriously found in a nearby field, and he had been stabbed to death with a lance.
Gosh, what a mystery! It's a bit like an Agatha Christie set in the Middle Ages. But is this treachery from his own side, or is this a sneaky Englishman getting one over on Llewellyn?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, some people believe he was betrayed by one of his own men. Mm-hmm. Others think he was riding to negotiate when he was caught up in the English cavalry. Whatever the true story, Llewellyn's head was sent as a gruesome Christmas present to King Edward, who put it on a spike at the Tower of London.
Oh, people back then really knew how to celebrate Christmas.
Yeah,
didn't
it's
they?
so festive. Okay, so with the subsequent execution of Llewellyn's brother, there was then no leader left to unite the Welsh, okay? And what this means is King Edward names his eldest son Prince of Wales, and this claims Wales as a principality of England. And despite continued Welsh resistance, a couple of hundred years later, under King Henry VIII, Wales was officially annexed into the Kingdom of England.
Fascinating. I didn't know about all this backstory. That's really interesting. And didn't the Tudors actually have some Welsh ancestry as well?
Well, they did indeed, Ben. Maybe we can talk about the Battle of Bosworth and all of that in another episode. But this dramatic story explains why Wales isn't featured on the Union Jack. When the flag is designed, Wales is considered to be represented already by the St George's Cross.
Oh, I see. Well, yeah, I really can't imagine the Welsh are very happy with that. But interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting historical context, Alice.
Yeah, I'm sure that they would prefer kind of St David to be repped in some sense. But,
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that's the history of Wales's presence or absence from the Union Jack. But what about the actual flag design?
Stay tuned, Ben. It's all coming up.
Well, for you watching, please let us know what you'd include in the Union Jack by leaving a comment. And don't forget to like, hype and subscribe so you never miss out.
Chapter 2, The King in the North. So we're going north to Scotland to meet a king. His name is James. He became monarch in 1567 at the age of just 1.
Early starter.
Yeah, early starter, not wasting time. But he becomes king because his mother, the well-known Mary, Queen of Scots, was forced to abdicate and then was later executed.
Of course.
Jump forward half a century to the 24th of March, 1603. There's a huge event which has just taken place. It's the end of an era because in Scotland, King James learns that his cousin, Queen Elizabeth I of England, has just died. So he's already James VI of Scotland, but with this, he becomes James I of England too. So he is now a king of two nations.
And this is an absolutely huge moment, isn't it, in our national story, really?
It is, you're right. So he has this grand plan to unite the nations, not just under one monarch, but under one parliament. To cut this very long story short, he wasn't successful. He did fail at that. But he does have a legacy in the form of a flag.
But he also has a legacy in the form of pubs, doesn't he?
Oh.
Yeah, because I think one thing I know about James uniting the crowns is that the Red Lion was a symbol of Scotland or a symbol of James and his heraldry. And a lot of pubs in England adopted the Red Lion, and it is now, the most popular pub name in Britain, I'm pretty sure.
And that's definitely an important legacy. I agree with you. But back to the flag, or
back to vexillology.
Whatever that word is, or flags. So James faced a bit of an issue. He had a problem with the Royal Navy. It's like a tricky kind of PR problem. At the time, he was in charge of both the English and the Scottish navies. Mm-hmm. And so they had to fly both the St. George and the St. Andrew's Cross. and this is actually quite difficult to do practically.
Okay, yeah.
So picture for me a ship's mast. You've got the flags flying up there on the mast, one on top of the other. You can't have the flags flying side by side when it's on this vertical mast. But in maritime rules, the flag that flies on top has defeated the flag that flies on the bottom.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Right, so you can see this could be contentious. Obviously, the English insisted on flying the St. George's Cross on top, the Scots vice versa, which, as you can imagine, was a problem. And so James thought, well, we can't be having all of this. It's a real mess, especially in his dream of bringing together Scotland and England.
Okay, so what's his big solution?
Okay, so James goes to the Earl of Nottingham, who is Lord High Admiral of the English fleet, and James asks him to come up with a flag design, a design which incorporates both flags. And we've got some of the images here from the Earl of Nottingham's designs.
Yeah, they're interesting, aren't they? I particularly like the one where it's an enormous St. George's Cross with a very, very little Scottish saltire in the middle of it.
Yeah. I mean, they're not very good. I mean, there's one with the St. George's Cross and the saltire in the corner, saltire in the centre, saltire kind of aligned with the George's Cross, but
one looks almost like a noughts and crosses board. Anyway, this isn't great for audio listeners, is it? But it's really interesting how lots of these, there's so many different designs. Some of them almost look a bit childlike, don't they?
They do. And the problem is that they all give precedent to one country over the other. It's hard to get a balance. And let us know what you think of these designs in the comments. But yeah, you can see why people might argue over this. So what they do is they finally settle on something that's actually very similar to what we have today. It's the St. George's Cross and St. Andrew's crosses laced together. And so this is like the Earl of Nottingham's new design. And King James is happy, and so he tells his navies to use this new Union flag. It's like this combo flag.
Oh, fascinating. And it all comes out of the English and Scottish bickering over
where to fly the flags on the mast.
I can see. I look at our arguments in a whole new light now.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
There we go. So after King James died, the Union flag goes in and out of use, but this is the beginnings of the Union Jack.
Fantastic. Okay, so we've covered England and Scotland. So when did Ireland get in there?
It's all coming up. Chapter 3, an Irish entrance. It's 1801 and the Act of Union joining Ireland to Great Britain has just been passed. This formed the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. An important moment. And for centuries before, Ireland had been governed under English rule in various forms, but from this point, the political union was made official. And this is when Ireland finally appeared on the Union Jack in the form of St. Patrick's Cross. This is the red diagonal cross that sits within the white cross of St Andrew on the Union Jack.
Of course. Yeah, and I never really put two and two together. I didn't know that's what the red diagonal cross was.
Well, there we go. Your vexillological knowledge is improving by the minute.
Well, that's why I'm hanging out with you, Alice. It was inevitable.
Now, as we said before, there isn't a clear-cut reason as to why this diagonal red-shaped cross is linked to St Patrick, but as Professor Groom has pointed out, it appears as an Irish symbol way back into the 15 and 1600s. Then it appears again a couple of hundred years later. In 1783, the English King George III created a new order of knights. It's a kind of honour system to reward individuals. And he called it the Order of St Patrick. And this red diagonal cross was used as its symbol. And actually, this red diagonal cross fits quite neatly in its shape in King James's Union Jack. But just like King James and his two royal navies, there was the problem of how to incorporate St Patrick's cross without wiping out the white St Andrew's cross.
Well, talk us through how they did it.
Okay, so one thing you'll notice when you look at the Union Jack is it's not actually completely symmetrical.
Oh, right. I'd actually never noticed that. I feel I should know that.
Okay, so when they're incorporating the St Patrick's flag, they had to lay the crosses upon one another in a way that made sure that each country had equal importance, which is actually quite hard to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because of this, there is a top and a bottom to the Union Jack. Do you know how to fly it the right way up?
No, I can't say I do.
Okay, don't worry. Okay, so what you need to look out for is that the white of St Andrew's cross is at the top left corner of the flag, and that is how you tell the flag is flying the right way up. And interestingly, because it's all quite subtle, people often fly it upside down by mistake, which is quite funny when you think that historically flying a flag upside down has been a real distress symbol.
Okay, yeah. So it makes sense as a distress symbol for most flags, but it seems like a very subtle distress signal for if you're flying the Union Jack.
Absolutely. So with the Act of Union in 1801, this is an important moment because we basically see the Union Jack as we know it today. So this is when the Union Jack is established.
Okay, brilliant. So that's how the Union Jack emerges. But of course, things changed in Ireland after 1801, didn't they? So did the flag change at all when Ireland divided in two?
Okay, so another big moment is the 6th of December 1921. The Anglo-Irish Treaty was signed, partitioning Ireland into two countries. So the Irish Free State, now the Republic of Ireland, and Northern Ireland, which remained part of the United Kingdom. And when this split happened, the red diagonal cross stayed in the Union Jack.
Okay, interesting. So there wasn't any change when Ireland split. That's interesting to know. And of course, the Republic of Ireland is represented by the Irish tricolour or tricolour, the three vertical stripes, green, white and orange or gold.
And to finish off the story, Professor Groom also pointed out that as the British Empire expanded in the 19th century, the flag became this recognisable symbol, not just in Britain, but across the globe. So there are cities designed in the shape of the Union Jack,
Really?
such as Faisalabad in Pakistan, which was designed in 1890 by a British colonial officer.
Gosh.
Which is quite wild.
That is, I don't know what to say about that.
But even Edinburgh Newtown was originally designed in a Union Jack shape, though they couldn't quite make it work. So actually it's just this grid structure in the end. But, you know, it shows kind of what an iconic design it has been for many, many years.
Oh, fascinating. Thank you so much, Alice. I did know a few little bits of that, but you've really turned it into a lovely story and gone above and beyond. So thank you so much.
Not at all. You've been a very good student of vexillology.
And for you watching, let us know what you want to uncover next by leaving a comment on our YouTube channel. And don't forget to like, hype and subscribe if you're here for the history. Until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.